On today's show, the San Diego Padres dropped the second game, very unfortunately, in this New York Yankees-Bronx showdown because of the bullpen. Surprisingly, gets blown up, whether there's reason to be concerned about it. Talking about game one, Tatis getting ejected, rain controversies, and a whole lot more, including the return of Mr Merrill. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Wednesday, May 7th. As always, I'm your host with sometimes occasionally, but certainly not always the most, Javier Reyes. You can follow me on Twitter /X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, Javiipeno. Be sure to check that out so that way you can be featured in the mailbag. Hopefully everybody got that episode yesterday, by the way. I accidentally uploaded Friday's episode on Monday for a second. I replaced it according to the upload thing that I go to, but just in case you got that originally, my mistake, everybody, go re-download it. I answered a bunch of your questions. Today's episode, guys, we're talking about the series thus far. 2 games we're going to be talking about, especially last night's to start. 12-3 loss for the Padres. Very unfortunately. Very not fun. But it wasn't as bad as that score sounds, I don't think, in a lot of ways. And we've got a lot of news. It's always really funny when the Tuesday episode, we just have the squad show go up on the feed, and then there's actually like some cool news that comes out. And the biggest cool news is that Mr Merrill returned for the Padres in this one. He actually goes 2 for 4 in this game. Or I'm sorry, was it 2 for 4? Let me just check. Yeah, so he goes 2 for 4 in this game. Great. We love that very much. Mr Merrill being back on this team, as well as Luis Arraez. All of a sudden, you look at this Padres lineup. Tatis, Arraez, Machado, Merrill, Bogaerts, Sheets, then Jason Hayward, and then Oscar Gonzalez pinch hit for him at one point. Elias Diaz, Tyler Wade. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, it doesn't feel like it's a desert after Tatis and Manny, right? Like, that's what it was feeling like for that week and a half or something. Right, like it was really, really rough for this Padres team. And they did kind of come through in this one. Tatis goes 2 for 5 in his return. We'll talk about his ejection in Monday's game for sure. But 2 for 5 in this one with an RBI. At one point, giving the Padres the lead in the top of the 7th inning, takes a 3-2 lead thanks to an RBI double from Tatis. Absolutely launched one. It was great. It was awesome. And it's really funny because I didn't know if he hit it, because just a fun little anecdote. Since I'm in Jersey, as people may know, I get the Yes broadcast, right? That's going to be where I have to watch it, obviously. And I don't get Don for this series because that's where I'm based out of. And it's really funny because when the ball leaves the bat, I don't know if it's a hit or not, because he's not reacting like it's hit because it's not the Yankees. So there's no enthusiasm. So I was like, is it going to catch it? Is it going to catch it? It throws me off. It's very, very odd. But anyway, they take a 3-2 lead in this one. After, by the way, first 2 runs, Manny Machado scored on a balk because Clark Schmidt did this weird tap thing. That was in the first inning. But anyway, they take the lead 3-2, and that's basically been the recipe for success for this Padres team. But in Yankee Stadium, against this Yankees offense, you knew that you can't totally rely on that. And I didn't think it would get this bad, but holy dear Lord Almighty, by far the worst outing from this Padres bullpen this year. Adrian Monahan only gets 1 out. He loads the bases for Wandy Peralta. 4 earned runs charged to Adrian Monahan, leapfrogging his ERA, by the way. Leapfrogging his ERA now to a 3.57 after having a 1.56 ERA. Only getting 1 out and then giving up 4 and walking 1 tends to do that. But again, don't freak out. Adrian Monahan has been very, very good. Basically all season, he only had that one weird showing against the Tigers, and that wasn't even a high leverage situation, right? And then you have Wandy Peralta come in, and it doesn't get better. Obviously, he's unable. It's hard. Bases loaded at 1 out, but he only gets 2 outs, right? He gets the final 2 outs. He gives up 6 earned runs with 2 walks. He doesn't strike out anybody. I feel like that was a situation, and I'm not blaming our guy Schilt here, because you did use Jeremiah Estrada the other day. You want to have them available going forward. That's fine. I get it. But you used Wandy Peralta in a situation that was a little bit higher leverage, and I like Wandy Peralta as a low leverage guy. He's been a dude who's actually gotten players to chase this year. He hasn't given up all that much hard contact. That's been his big thing. He's having a comeback season and proving AJ probably correct about the contract that he gave him. He's been very good. But in this situation, should he have used him or maybe someone else? I don't think it matters. You used Estrada and Suarez the other day. Like, you got to keep your bullpen nice and rested. And to me, he was probably looking for Wandy to produce what he usually is able to produce, which is soft contact, a ground ball, maybe get out of the inning. He does not do that. Instead, Austin Wells gets an RBI. Then Grisham draws a walk. By the way, on 4 pitches, they bring in Wandy, 4 straight pitches for ball. That's not what I would have done, but let me tell you, Wandy thought it was okay, and then gives up a Ben Rice double. Then Cody Bellinger gets a hit. Then Anthony Volpez gets a hit, and then Austin Wells caps it off with a grand slam, making it 12-3. That's basically the end of the game. Not great for the Padres, but here's the thing, and I mentioned this in my short that I uploaded after the game on the YouTube channel as well. I'm going to start doing those again, by the way, don't worry. Just been in the overhaul process, as I teased on Monday's show. You'll see. You'll guys will see at some point. But the Padres entering yesterday's game had about a 1.7, 1.6 bullpen ERA. By far and away the best of any unit in Major League Baseball. And second place was the New York Mets at about like a 2.5 or so, right? They were nearly a run better than the second best bullpen in baseball in the New York Mets, right? So what that tells you is they're not going to be Cleveland last year, or at least you can't project a team to be what Cleveland was last year, right? That was a historically good bullpen. And now their team bullpen is about a 2.73 ERA, much closer to the 2.91 of the Mets and the Detroit Tigers at 2.96. Look, it happens, right? 100%, this is just what happens. Actually, my bad. Wait, I was reading from starting pitchers. They're still first place at 1.68. I didn't realize that the Mets actually fell, by the way. I thought the Mets were like number 1. But that just goes to... I'm talking way too much. That just goes to show you that the bullpen stuff really kind of... regresses to the mean at some point. The Padres still by far have the best bullpen in baseball. Second place is the San Francisco Giants right now. I messed that up in my short. My apologies, everybody. I am stupid. But overall, it's just going to happen. You're going to have these moments where the bullpen gets blown up. Dare I say they were due for a moment like this, especially in Yankee Stadium against a pretty... at times prolific Yankees offense that can occasionally just really start hitting some bombs. Austin Wells can do that. Ben Rice can do that. Obviously, Aaron Judge can do that. He hit a home run in this game as well, because what else is new? But in terms of positives, Michael King looked pretty good in this game, at least by what standards we're looking for from our starting pitching lately. He was pretty okay in this game, despite only getting 2 strikeouts. We'll talk about him in just a second, guys. But first, we got to take a break to talk about one of our sponsors. And that sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, is the good folks over at what? It's a wonderful one, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm talking about, everybody. That is the good folks over at Wonderful Pistachios. Let me tell you, if you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I like the no shells variety as well. Just if you're really feeling a vibe, if you really want to just, get right into it, you don't want to crack the thing open, you just want to have a snack and go in there, they've got you covered. But also, if you're like me, you also sometimes just want the satisfaction of cracking open the nut. It feels great. I highly, highly recommend it. And they've got some other flavors as well. Really great stuff, guys, with Wonderful Pistachios. They keep you feeling fuller longer, especially if you're like me, if you want to eat a little bit healthier, just like satisfy that craving that you've got every now and then. They're really great for that. So get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Go on and check it out. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the Locked On Padres podcast. As always, thriving and vibing on this one. We were just talking about Michael King. And again, my apologies, by the way, for messing up the stats in the previous segment. What can I say? I'm a little bit stupid sometimes. Last year, Cleveland's bullpen ERA was 2.57, by the way. So it's going to be, I'm just saying that because this Padres bullpen, you can't project a bullpen to be that good. Right? It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to project when stuff like that happens. Similar to how I talk about on the show, that's kind of the thing with baseball. Is you're never going to project the historical stuff. You could project who's going to be good, who's going to be the best, but you can't project when people are going to break records because just weird things happen. Look at this Dodgers team. Half their rotation is in the infirmary right now, and everybody before the season is like, yeah, easily, this could be like a 120-win team. And the actual single season best team ever was the Seattle Mariners, and it was a bunch of career years from guys that you wouldn't have expected, and one of the biggest high-profile international free agent signings that we'd had basically ever up to that point turned out to be great immediately. Not even Shohei Ohtani was amazing immediately. So you can't always project this stuff. So I'm not saying that the Padres bullpen is going to be bad or that it's, that there's just going to be a middle tier, unit or anything like that. It's just expect at some point these guys get to give up some runs. But Michael King in this one, 6 innings of play here, 3 hits allowed, but they did a lot to 2 runs. And like I said, one of them was an Aaron Judge shot. Walked 2, struck out 2. Didn't get a lot of swing and miss in this one, as we're used to from Michael King, I think. And again, there's nothing to freak out. I know today's episode, that's basically what I've been saying the entire time, but it's true. He generated only 2 whiffs on his changeup, only 2 on his sinker. Just didn't quite have the usual, I think, movement to his pitches that we are usually expecting, right? And that's fine, right? Like, that's totally fine. But all in all, I think especially in the changeup, he didn't get quite as much horizontal break on average, about 17 inches. Yearly average, he's about 20. Like, he wasn't as great with the movement, sinker as well, but it's okay. And not to mention the Yankees know him, you know what I mean? And Yankee Stadium can be a tough place to pitch in, but it's amazing that he still delivered a quality start. Michael King, man, I'm like, at some point we got to talk about it, probably midway through the season when I lose some content ideas, maybe for next week when I'm in San Diego and I got to get some episodes in the bank. We got to talk more pressingly, more seriously about a Michael King extension, because this Padres team, after this season, right, you have Joe Musgrove coming off of TJ, then you've got Yu Darvish, then you've got Nick Pivetta, and then it's like, oh God. So having Michael King as a pitcher there, considering that you don't have as many pitching prospects, and I doubt that Cash Mayfield, their first round pick this past year, is going to be ready immediately, and frankly, he's still in development. Like, we're going to see what happens with him. They're probably going to need to keep someone. And I'm curious about what Michael King could go for. Is he going to be interested in an extension? He could be, right? This isn't the Dylan Cease situation where we expect him to hit the open market because all Scott Boras clients do. We'll have to see with Michael King. Doesn't have nearly the overall huge resume. Could they get him for something similar to what they gave Musgrove? Maybe. And that's what I hope they're working on, because I would feel a lot better about this rotation going forward if they were able to do that. Because again, if you had Pavetta and Musgrove as your top 2 guys for sure, I'd feel good about that. But he's still coming off TJ. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with Joe, even if I am optimistic he'll be good. But anyway, that was a big tangent. Let's talk about Monday's game now, ladies and gentlemen, because let me tell you, Monday's game, everything freaking happened in this game. Like actually, and this is why I was a little bit upset that I didn't get a chance to record, because this was one of those games that, like, I wish I was doing like a live show during this one, because we just had drama all over the place. Not, NBA level Luka Doncic trade. This isn't, Malice at the Palace, but it was still some crazy stuff that went down. And let's start first with the most, this is where we're going to start. With Nick Pivetta in this game. He goes 5 innings, gives up 3 runs, only 2 earned on 4 walks and 5 Ks. And then on the other side, Carlos Rodon kind of won the head-to-head pitching matchup, going 6 2/3, allowing 0 earned runs on 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks. By the way, low-key, really nice season. Bounce back for Carlos Rodon, who looked like at one point he was just going to be a nuclear disaster for the Yankees. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that he's quite what he was with San Francisco, as this team could attest to, but still really good dominant start from him. Thankfully, obviously, the Padres ended up coming back by a score of 4-3. But Pivetta in this one was just a little bit off, and he looked like I don't know. Nick Pivetta has some of the most humorously, like, not angry, but like just, I don't know, he's so focused that you can see how much he's trying to I don't know how to explain his body language, but he showed it a lot in this game, because if you didn't know, there was a rain delay, and at one point it was pouring and he was still pitching. Just still went at it, and it was actually like a little bit absurd that he was still pitching at one point. And obviously, Padres fans all over Twitter, they're like, oh, the Yankees set us up, they wanted us to burn a starter, this game clearly shouldn't have been played. I'm not going that way, right? Like, I'm not going to be that extreme, but it was really frustrating just to see him out there. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, you can literally see him look like he's wearing like a wet towel practically, right? Not even a wet towel, just totally damp clothes, like he just got out of a pool. And It was just extremely bizarre to see. Of course, they end up delaying the game, but he did struggle a little bit in this one. I do think it's impressive, though, that he was still able to generate 8 whiffs on his fastball, 4 whiffs on his sweeper on 8 swings, and his curveball looked pretty okay, too. And I don't think that, while the sweeper he did give up some really hard hit contact at times, I still think that overall he was really, really good. The fastball, I think, was really working, which isn't necessarily the go-to awesome pitch that I always trust when facing this Yankees lineup that can kill fastballs sometimes. But I think that Pivetta also impressively, there was a little bit of a conversation at one point that maybe he was tipping his pitches. John Boy Media, I believe, posted about this. And all that considered, great start for our guy with the rain nonsense, and then for potentially tipping pitches, is at least what I had seen online. Great start by our guy, like really great stuff. I've said it before, I'm going to keep saying it every damn episode. Nick Pivetta has been the absolute lifesaver for this Padres team. Like, genuinely astonishing stuff. 2.01 ERA on the year. Just amazing start after amazing start. He had the San Francisco game when he struck out 9 batters. Yes, he gave up a few runs. It wasn't his fault, right? Wasn't his fault. What was it? Did we win that one? I think we won that one, though, right? It wasn't his fault. I believe the bullpen came in and gave up a couple runs. But overall, what I've been seeing here from Nick Pivetta is a guy that the Padres got in. They got in on the ground floor before the full breakout happened, at least in my opinion. It reminds me so much of the Joe Musgrove situation. Not that they're the same pitcher, but it reminds me of that. And there isn't anything about him that I think is going to significantly change, right? I think he's going to give up more runs because he is a home run happy fly ball guy, right? He's been one of the worst pitchers at keeping the ball in the park in Major League Baseball. That's the kind of thing that will eventually, he's going to have a start, right? And you saw that against the Cubs. Guys are going to hit him hard. But it's not like he's getting obscenely lucky because he gets strikeouts. And over the last 2 seasons, he's in the top 15 in strikeout rate, right? He pitches a lot of innings. And if that's your 3 starter, you're cooking. Obviously, we want more from Dylan Cease, but Nick Pivetta as a 3 starter is how you make the playoffs, right? When you have someone that good who's your 3, and at times could even be potentially your 4 if Yu Darvish comes back and is really healthy and all that stuff, right? We're expecting him at some point in June. Yu Darvish at times can be a 3 starter. He can be an ace. You saw in the playoffs last year. He can be an ace. So with all that, Nick Pivetta, absolute lifesaver. The fact that he's only making $1 million this year, I understand it jumps up next year, but incredible stuff from AJ Preller. But again, barrel rate, he is in the 16th percentile in the league. And in ground ball rate, he's in the 13th percentile. Eventually, some home runs are going to leave the park. I'm just really happy not too many bad stuff happened in this game. There was a controversial call, though, earlier in the beginning of the game. On top of another reason why I think Pivetta was so impressive, in the bottom of the 3rd inning, you could argue that there should have been a strike 3 call, right, to the batter right before Trent Grisham, who then ends up hitting a home run in the next at-bat. Obviously, we all knew it was coming, right? You knew he was going to get his revenge against the Padres. Trent Grisham, who has been obscenely good this year, by the way. I don't know if you guys have been following this. You probably have because you're Padres fans or you're just a little bit curious and you probably Googled it. But Trent Grisham currently has the 2nd best WRC plus on the Yankees with a 187. He's hitting the ball hard. He's playing good defense. We always knew he could play defense, and we always knew he could hit the ball hard. But he's figured something out because he's not striking out nearly as much. He's getting on base at a better clip. He's hitting 298. Just unbelievable stuff. And it's not like his BABIP is super high either, 281. Like, Trent Grisham seems to have figured it out. And I think that what's more frustrating about it if you're a Padres fan is, first of all, we have Jackson Merrill. It's fine. But you look at it and you say, it's not like we didn't give him any time, and then he went to a change of scenery and then figured everything out. Trent Grisham was among one of the worst outfield bats in all of Major League Baseball from the second half of 2021 all the way to the end of 2024. Like, he was bad, right? 104 WRC plus in 2021, which most of that comes from the first half. By the way, I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm going on a Grisham tangent because this is driving me nuts that this guy is low-key, just completely bouncing back. But in the first half of 2021, when Trent Grisham looked like the ultimate, like, another find by AJ Preller, 132 WRC plus, then 76 in the second half. And then ever since then, he's been a guy that's hit under 200, and all of a sudden he's just back, right? Like, he's hitting like an absolute beast. So big home run for him, and it wasn't a short porch type of home run, by the way. He crushed this ball. Like, let me tell you, he crushed this ball. It was a big fly ball, all that sort of stuff. You guys know how it goes. But it was actually, did he crush it that much? Yeah, he did kind of crush it. It was a 710 expected batting average, 30 out of 30 ballparks. It was a home run. It wasn't the hardest hit ball of the night because this night got really, really crazy, as you people probably know by now. We're going to keep talking about that, including the rain delay, including the ejections. And were the Padres getting really robbed, or was it just the Grisham moment? We'll talk about that more in just 1 second, guys, but we have one more ad to talk about. And just like that, everybody, we are back here on the Locked On Padres podcast, talking about an ad. I almost forgot for a second. We're talking about Supply House, folks, because Supply House, man, look, here's the thing. When it comes to all your needs, when it comes to your more physical needs, right? We're not talking about food no more, all right? When it comes to the skilled trades, plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, whatever, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, do not worry. Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now, it's your turn, folks. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Go check it out. And just like that, everybody, we are back here on Locked On Padres podcast, a sloppy podcast, dare I say. Don't worry. We'll land the plane smooth here in this final segment. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think that what's happening to me and why I'm not speaking well, and this is going to sound crazy, but the mustache. I have a little bit of a mustache. I need to shave. I need to cut my hair. I need to feel a little bit more complete, like clean shaven. I think that that's what's throwing me off. There is no correlation, probably, between a voice and the hair, but at least mentally, it feels like it is. And let me tell you, mentally, it messes you up when the umpire seems to be calling a lot of low pitches strikes for the entire game, as some people on the Padres side would argue, and that's what happened. So we talked about the Trent Grisham hit. That was because of a not strike three call in this game. It was a 50-50 call, though, right? In my opinion, it didn't go the Padres' way. But you have to admit, you're watching this game and you're seeing a lot of low middle pitches be called for strikes. And a lot of people are upset, including one Sir Fernando Tatis Jr., who eventually in this game, in the top of the 8th inning with runners on, Padres need to score, right? This is one of their times. This is the heart of the order. And they bring in, what is it? They have Devin Williams in. And he strikes out Tatis because it was a 1-2 count that the strike two call was one that Tatis thought was really low, and he jumped up a little bit. Then he struck out, and then he said something to the home plate umpire. What he said, we don't know, right? I posted on the Locked On Padres Twitter page, like, wrong answers only, what he posted. Got a lot of funny responses, by the way. In fact, a lot of responses, like a lot of responses, more than I'm used to, so I'm not going to read all of them here. But it was odd. And Tatis really hasn't been like this for years. Tatis doesn't get ejected. Famously, right, the Manny Machado incident where he yelled, got ejected way too early in the game, and Machado got pissed at him. That was the whole thing, not about you, blah, 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 blah. But it seems like the team was kind of really with him on this one, because while they did lose Tatis, and they could have used him in this game, right, the game was not over. Right? They still needed to score some runs and try and get the W. They could have used him. I think everybody was upset, including one Sir Luis Ariz, who then, after Tatis strikes out, he draws a walk in this one. And as he draws the walk, you guys got to check this out. Go watch the replay. He is like getting ready to toss his bat, and then he goes up, and then he looks at the bullpen like, that was a walk, right? And it was a pitch that was super inside. So Ariz was being like, oh yeah, was that a strike? Like that type of attitude. And it was really funny. I didn't even realize it on the first thing. I guess I just looked away from the screen when I saw him draw a walk, and I went like, yes, checked my phone real quick because I'm a millennial and I can't go 3 seconds without checking my phone. And I missed that. I missed that he was trolling the umpire. So I think the Padres were like all in and like totally on their side, because not only did Tatis get ejected, not only did Arise do this, but Mike Schilt got ejected too. He threw the lineup card and he threw his glasses, which is the wildest thing I've seen anyone do in a long time. Like, why are you throwing your glasses? That's really dangerous. People can step on them. I don't know how like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And they were really upset. And I understand. I don't know what Tatis said. I always think it's lame when umpires eject players for arguing balls and strikes. I get it. You just don't do that, right? I get it. And it's also, I don't know what he said. But all in all, it's just something that I'm like, come on, let's not do this. But whatever, it happens. In my opinion, before we get into what happened next, I think this got a little bit overblown. Because here's my take. Were they bad calls? Yes. There were some really bad calls going against the Padres throughout the night, specifically low. He was calling a vertically big strike zone, right? Not on the outside necessarily, but vertically. Low and middle. He was also calling that against the Yankees. There were some big strikes that the Yankees got, including a walk to Paul Goldschmidt later on in this game, or what should have been potentially a walk to Paul Goldschmidt in this game, and who knows where that goes. So I'm not with that. I think that this game was not called accurately. I think that the umpire missed a lot of strikes in the aforementioned zones I mentioned, but I do think it did go a little bit both ways. A little bit. Obviously, they hurt the Padres more in some situations, right? With the Grisham home run, with Tatis getting ejected. But in my opinion, it was just, I don't know, I'm not going to freak out. I'm one of those people who doesn't get that mad at umpires. I just don't. That's my hot take of the day. I don't get that mad at umpires. They're imperfect people. I think people won't admit it, but they like to have someone to hate. They need a heel, and that it's entertaining to get mad about things. And number two, I'm just fundamentally, especially in today's world, and I've been saying this for years, I'm just kind of against replacing human beings with robots. So I'm not all about that, and it's not ready yet. So that's my hot take for the podcast. Now back to Padres. Right after that, though, Manny Machado smacks a double, basically in the face of whoever that commenter was on this channel that was saying Machado doesn't show up when they need him. Big hit for him. He's been awesome with runners on base this year, and that was a really high leverage situation, so I imagine that those numbers went up too. Hardest hit ball of the night, 114.8 miles per hour off the bat, 820 expected batting average. By the way, kind of crazy that Manny Machado only has 3 home runs. Kind of crazy. And it's not because with Xander Bogaerts, we know why, because he's not launching the ball enough. He barely gets any barrels. Even if he fluctuates in his hard hit rate, he's able to hit the ball decently hard sometimes. He just has not been able to lift the ball all that much. But let me tell you, Manny Machado has been barreling the ball a good amount. Yes, he's chasing a lot, but his hard hit rate is still through the roof. He's still awesome. So I'm a little bit surprised that he doesn't have more home runs. I'll take what we're getting right now, though, which is a guy who has still got a really positive WRC plus for this team. He's been really good with runners on base, despite what some people might tell you in the comments of this channel every now and then. And he's got a walk rate that will absolutely play. 357 on base. He's hitting very well. Right. And I think that he's approaching it this year, just being super aggressive. He's going to whiff at pitches, and that will result in a dip in batting average. That will result in some moments where he just hits a bad slump. In yesterday's game, not the game we're talking about, he swung on a pitch with the bases loaded right before the Yankees avalanche of runs came in. 3 strikes, he was out, and he swung at one really bad slider. Like, that's going to happen sometimes. But overall, I'm just a little bit surprised that he only has 3 home runs. I don't know why. I think it might be a little bit fluky. He'll probably get some more at some point, but we will have to see, folks. And then right after that, wasn't the hardest hit ball of the night, but Xander Bogaerts, a nice single that he rips as well, driving in 2 more runs to make the score 4-3. Excellent stuff. Ryan Berger, by the way, appears in this game. He is actually charged with the win. He got a couple strikeouts, which was nice. Actually, what was it? Just 1 strikeout? He only got 1 strikeout, then a fly out and a ground out. It's just cool, right? It just shows you that the Padres have some cool arms in their farm system, at least when it comes to the bullpen. Hopefully they can develop some starters too. And then what happens? Our boy Jeremiah Estrada comes in. He gets judged to fly out. They brought him in against the heart of the lineup. Right? This is what you love having about an 8th inning guy who can sometimes face the guys that are even scarier, who could tie the game with 1 swing. Gets Aaron Judge to fly out after a long and very scary at bat. I was terrified watching this. Ben Rice strikes out. Goldschmidt does get a single, but then Cody Bellinger flies out. And then Robert Suarez comes into the game. Boom. Volpe, done. Strikeout. Austin Wells, fly out. Jason Dominguez, strikeout to end the game. Robert Suarez, still a phenomenally low ERA on the season of just 0.56. He's been awesome. 14 saves. He's 14 for 14. He only had one game this year, basically, where it got a little bit close. He's been awesome, and you love to see it. Absolutely love to see it, especially with all those things, with some weird calls, a Nick Pivetta rain delay, Tatis getting ejected, Mike Schilt getting ejected, just a really nice win for the Padres. It's a shame that they couldn't get the Game 2 W, but we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. There's not much else to say. Really solid look for the Padres, and I'm bringing this up especially because they haven't played well against the Yankees. They got kind of crushed by them last year. Like, really, really badly. That series was bad. I don't know if you guys remember that, but the Padres were just getting blown apart. And this was before they had, like, figured themselves out, obviously, as the season went along. But they got blown out of the water. And in this series, they've been competitive. Yes, they lost 12-3, but it was one of those, like, I'm just kind of throwing that out. It was a bad couple appearances from Adrian Morejon and Wandy Peralta. I doubt that's going to happen again, right? You're not giving up 10 runs in this bullpen, for the foreseeable future, especially when you consider they didn't even use their best guys. So we'll hopefully get the rubber match before they have this series coming up against Colorado. So it would be really nice to get this one. In this next game, though, we got ourselves a very interesting pitching matchup. Why is it interesting, folks? Because he's always interesting, because we don't know what we're going to get from him, right? That is Mr. Dylan Cease versus Max Fried. So, a current Cy Young contender and a one that was supposed to be a Cy Young contender. You guys can guess which one. 1.01 ERA for Max Fried on the year. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one because he is a lefty, and we know that the Padres have struggled against lefties this year. What's his face? Jackson Merrill struggles against lefties, and Luis Campusano, who I haven't talked about. I forgot to mention him. He grounds out into thankfully it wasn't a double play that killed that inning, but he gets thrown out trying to steal home in this game. He got optioned the other day. The Campy Hive has been one of the dumbest things that I've ever come up with. One of the dumbest things that I've ever paid attention to. I don't know what to say, guys. I'm actually a little bit surprised that they sent him down. He still has like a 400 on base. I know he hasn't gotten a hit yet, but he has drawn some walks in just a few at-bats. And I think he's hit the ball at least decently in a couple of these games, right? Like, at least decently. He's sort of hit it a little bit. I know. I'm grasping at straws, ladies and gentlemen. What can I say? But I don't know. I would rather have had Campusano up. I don't know who else they could have optioned. Maybe Oscar. Right? I don't really know because they need the outfield help. I get it. I don't know who they could have sent down. It's probably a positional thing. I hope he comes back up. Campy. One, because I really like to keep the bit going. But lastly and most importantly, it's because I think Martin Maldonado isn't any good. And I think Campy at least has a higher upside than that. But I get why they want to have two catchers on the roster, and Campy can't catch well very defensively. But that being said, neither can Maldonado. So I think at some point we'll see him back. But it would have been nice to have him in this game against Fried purely because it's a lefty and Gavin Sheets can't hit against lefties. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. Hopefully they get the W. But I think for me, what I'd like to see more is a nice Dylan Cease start. But man, with all the big hits he's been giving up this year, we might get a not so great start from Dylan Cease. I'm a little bit nervous. Maybe it's going to, we should zig when everyone else is zag, when all the numbers are telling you he's going to be bad again. Maybe we go the other way. But I don't know, man. It could get a little bit messy. We'll see, though. Just want to see Dylan Cease have one awesome game. I'm still waiting for it. I'm still waiting. Where are you, Dylan? We need you. But with that all being said, everybody, that about does it for today's very weird episode of the Locked On Padres podcast. Again, for all my listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. Free and available on all platforms. Go follow me on Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO. With questions, comments, and concerns. Love hearing from you guys. But until that next time, stay safe and, of course, stay faithful. My Friday Faithful homies, take care.